good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another episode of Healing in Ways You Never Thought Possible with our Miraculous Healing series. Have you been enjoying the shows? There's been a lot of very interesting healing stories that we've been sharing from people not just locally, but all over the world. Amazing stories are there to be heard so you could be inspired, empowered, and also maybe transformed. And today I'm so excited to welcome our guest. Her name is Vikki Amor, and she is from Great Britain. So you're going to love her accent. But her interesting story is this, she also questions, have you ever asked yourself what you're doing with your life? She first asked herself that question in 2018 after a number of life-changing events, running a business and living a life where she was stressed, burnt out, and miserable. But it wasn't until 2020, and after she was told that she needed her heart surgery for the second time, not the first time, the second time, that she made a decision to change her stories and start creating and living the life she wanted. She started a huge healing journey in every area of her life and never needed her second heart surgery. So I am so pleased to have as my guest Vikki Amor. Hey, Vikki.
Hi, Dr. Dolores. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for
I'm so
having me.
excited for you to be here too to share your story because that's amazing.
Thank
And
you.
how resilient we are and we have the capability to heal ourselves. So I'm just going to let you share your story with our audience.
Okay. So in 2016, I thought I'd pulled a muscle in my left shoulder. And where it was over the weekend, I rang the emergency number and I was just like, I just need you to tell me I'm not having a heart attack. Like, I know I'm not having a heart attack, but it's my left side. And so I went to like the out of hours doctor. She picked up a heart murmur, sent me for an echocardiogram, but she was like, "You're not having a heart attack." So all I heard was, "I'm not having a heart attack. Like, everything's fine." And then when I went for the echocardiogram, like the ultrasound of my heart, my aortic heart valve was like severely leaking, and my heart was enlarged. So I then I mean, long story short, in November, I thought I'd got a chest infection and went to my GP and ended up being rushed into hospital. And then I didn't come out. I spent like about 6 weeks in hospital and had open heart surgery. So that was like the end of 2016. But then it didn't hit me. Like, while I was in hospital, I was just like, my cat's at home. I just need to get home. I wasn't really processing, like, I'm having like open heart surgery. So afterwards, it was like for 4 years, because I've got a mechanical heart valve, I have to take warfarin, and my warfarin levels, were like all over the place. So I was going to like constant. There were times I was going to the hospital like 3 times a week to have my INR checks because it just wasn't stable. And then I was like, I was stressed, but I was constantly telling myself, like, there's something wrong with me. I'm a heart patient. I can't do that because I'm a heart patient. Like, I can't push myself or work out too much because I'm like a heart patient. And then in 2018, I lost my dad to cancer, and I had to move out of a house like I loved living in. It was just, and it was like 2 years of like, work, like stress in my business, stress at home. And also, and I've got this story running that I'm a heart patient, and I ended up in the beginning of, so during that time, I was having echocardiograms done like every 6 months, and I just thought it was normal. But then in February 2020, I was so out of breath. I couldn't literally, I was living in a flat. I couldn't walk from like one room to another room without stopping to like catch my breath. And then I couldn't walk anywhere because I was like, I don't know, am I going to get stuck and then not be able to like come home? So I used to drive everywhere and park, like right where I needed to like get out. So I went for another echo in February 2020, and the cardiologist on duty got called in and said to me, we don't know why you're so ill, but we don't think the valve's working properly. It's like off the charts. Like you need to have surgery again. Like we need to go and replace the valve. And then obviously COVID hit in March 2020 and everything got cancelled.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was like, it was awful what was going on, but it was like the best thing that ever happened to me, because I moved, like a few months after that, I moved from where I was living, and I did Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within in July 2020, and he was talking about, like the stories we tell ourselves and the meaning that we put on those stories. And so it was just, it was about 3:00 in the morning because it was on American time, and I was so happy. It was just, and that's when I was like, I can make myself better. Like I just need to, and it wasn't like this like miraculous healing, and then all of a sudden overnight I was like, everything was amazing. But I was just like, every day I'm just going to walk a little bit further. I just walk a little bit further. And then gradually, like my breathing got better. Like I was grey in like when they told me I needed the second surgery, and it was like my colour came back. I just felt like better. But I'd already started making changes in my business. I trained as a coach. So it really made me aware of how bad stress affects me. And then, so then July 2021, I went and had another echocardiogram. And I think they just thought it was a bit of a fluke. So, because my cardiologist said to me, he's like, I don't know what you're doing, but just keep doing it. Like your heart's really healthy. The valve's working perfectly, just keep doing whatever you're doing. And then I went back again in July, like last year, July 2020, and saw like a different cardiologist. And he said to me, he was like, this shouldn't be happening. How the way, like your scans from 2020, you should have had surgery by now. Like, this just doesn't happen. Like it doesn't get better. And so it's like, but it was, to be honest, at the time, I was just like, I just want to feel better. Like, I just need to get better, And now I'm like, my heart's healthier than it was, like, even, immediately after having the surgery.
Yeah. That's an amazing story. And, kudos to you for, listening to your body and just letting it guide you to what it needed. I think that's a huge takeaway for a lot of people, is like they sometimes give their power away to something outside of themselves. And like you were saying, they labeled you as a cardiac patient, and you to some point took it on as your truth. And it's amazing. I love hearing people's stories and their journey, because a lot of times we think that things have to be a certain way, and we give our power away to something outside of ourselves that is trying to regulate and control us, instead of us stepping into our own power and embracing that. Because I think, Vikki, you and I could both agree that the human body is incredible, and it could heal itself.
Yeah, it can. And I think as well, as long as you're conscious of, like I'm really conscious now of like I suppose like what I'm telling myself when I'm, I still not like, not that I talk to myself, but we all have the things that run through our minds. So I'm really, really conscious now that and I'm not perfect. I still catch myself, like doing it, but it's just, but that really made me realize was, I was constantly telling myself that there was something wrong with me, and I was ill, and I was making myself like worse. And as soon as I just changed, it was like, I just want to get better. Like, that's all, I just kept saying, like, I just want to feel better. So I'm just going to go like a little bit further every day.
Yeah.
And then my body took over, and
that's a cool
lucky.
story. Well, no, it's just like, I think it was your pathway. I think a lot of us have our healing journeys, and maybe they show up in a physical aspect, or maybe a mental, emotional, or a disconnect from who we are. And it's like things happen for a reason, and a lot of times it's an opportunity for us to do some deeper healing
Mm.
that is necessary, so we come back into alignment with our body, mind, and soul.
No, that's so true. And I
Yeah.
have done, it was funny because I'd already done like a year and a half of like coach training
Mhm.
and NLP, and learning about like mindset, and until I did, but it was always focused on like someone else. And then doing Tony Robbins training, it was like I've done all of this work but never used it, like turned it around on myself. And then
Yeah.
since then, um, I've done loads of, like personal development, but work on, I suppose, like letting things go, and and like just accepting things that had happened that I'd like sort of blocked and pushed to my mind. So I know that's helped as well. And
Yeah.
I think as well, just being aware, like stress and burnout and things, that's my biggest, like I need to, make sure I'm like managing that all of the
Yeah.
time.
And I think we all have to be mindful of that and aware. And half the battle is just being aware that it's happening, because I think so many people, and I think we're all guilty of this to some extent, have been unconscious sometimes
Mm,
of this, and we're on automatic, or I call like the doing mobile, where it's constantly in motion, and it's just like being in motion all the time is not sustainable long term. You have to
no,
have those rest periods where you go and do inner reflection and your inner work, so you can have that balance.
yeah. But I think that we live in a world, don't we, where it's like it's not expected, but there's like a social thing of, oh, if you run a business, you should be like go, go, go all the time, and you're supposed to be, this like available all of the time, and that, and like you said, that's not sustainable.
No, it's not. And it's like, and I think we could witness like a lot of people, with the stress, it just builds more stress. And we know when you're under a lot of stress, it impacts your physical body eventually. It may not be
Mm,
immediately, but the long term effect of it, yes, it does affect your physical body, and you'll create something for yourself that will be a showstopper that may need you to stop in your tracks so
but
you
it
can
makes
kind
you
of go.
stop. Yeah. I should have paid attention after the first heart
Well,
surgery.
yeah, it's like the universe kind of taps you on the shoulder and says, Dolores, you need to pay attention. Dolores ignores it. Dolores, then the next time it's like you get a slap across the face, and it's just like she still ignores it. And then all of a sudden, the 4x4, the 2x4 comes whack, and it's like, oh, thank you very much. I got it. But you know what? We're all on a journey. And, the key is that you're awake and you
Mm,
realize this, and you have manifested and created something completely different.
yeah,
And I'm sure it's had led you down to a different career, and it's probably helping your career. And I know you're a transformational business coach. I'm sure it helps you when you work with your clients, as far as getting in touch with their inner knowingness. Could you share
yeah.
more about that? Yeah.
And I think as well, it helps it, like, I suppose I'm not a business coach that is saying to them, like like you're burnt out, you're stressed out, like take a break, get clear on, like prioritize, because it's easy to, but I've been there where I've been so caught up in the busyness, and it's not actually helping my business, but that's the stuff that's keeping me up at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
so I think it helps. I suppose, like I've been there. So when I'm working with people, like now, like coaching people to get clear on, like, what do they want in their business? But then also, like, saying like prioritize and stuff. I haven't just gone and done a coaching course. And
Mhm.
now I'm like, it's like I lived that for 11
Oh,
years
yeah.
and it
I
made
think,
me ill.
well, the thing is that, I think there's that aspect of authenticity and being genuine. When
Mm,
you have had that you've had that experience, you're able to take what you've learned and that wisdom and share it with other people so they could have those extra gold nuggets in their world and have other possibilities.
yeah. I think that's the thing as well, is when you're running a small business, it's easy, it's quite a lonely place. So it's so easy to fall into that, like just going, like, constantly stressed, like
Yeah.
constantly, I suppose like working at like 200 miles an hour. So it's like they're the people that I work with. Like you don't have to work like that. And also looking at, the things that you are stressing about. Do you need to be stressing about those
Yeah.
things?
Well, and
That's
then,
the biggest thing.
well, the other thing too is that I think a lot of times when people have a tendency to be very sensitive, they're empaths, intuitives, and highly sensitive people
Mm,
as well. A lot of times that busyness is not really their stuff. It's everybody else's stuff that's kind of coming into their space. And, it's hard to sometimes discern where you end and somebody else begins. And that's where that gray area comes in. So, I'm going to say that maybe boundaries are important too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
massively. And I
Yeah.
loved what you said, about the refrigerator. So imagine you're in like a refrigerator, like to set the energetic boundaries.
Yeah.
It's like that's, like you're in your refrigerator, and that's your energy, and I'm in mine, and
Yep.
I'm like, I really love that, and I've
Yeah.
used it a lot like since.
Well, and the thing is that, it's very easy to do. And a lot of times we just have to remind ourselves because we're just, sometimes we forget. And
Mm,
that's okay. But, the reminders, the more you do something, the more it becomes part of who you are. It's like creating a new habit. So sometimes when we're changing things. So, so I'm going to put a link up here for Vikki, and this is how you could get in touch with her. And just tell us more about your coaching and your membership program.
so my membership program is, it's like, I suppose, an introduction. So I offer group coaching, like an accountability group as well, because it's easy to get excited and set goals, and then life takes over, and you're like months down the line, and you haven't started working on those goals. So I have like an accountability group, like I said, like fortnightly coaching with me, and also I've done like online business courses as well. So it's like an all area access membership. And then also, to anyone watching this, you can get the first 2 months pro membership for free by using, just put in the coupon code membership. So they can come and like check it out, get to know me a little bit better. And then my coaching, I coach one-to-one small business owners who are like stressed. Like the last few years have been like really, really tough on small business owners. And I think what's happened is a lot of the people I'm working with are, they love what they're doing, but they've lost their passion and their fire for their business. So we work together. I work together like one-on-one to get clear on like what they want in their business, like what they want, like what they really want to create, like not what they should be creating, like,
Right, right.
what they want,
Yeah.
and
So
then
it's like,
how we can create that.
yeah, that's cool.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
So, so I think we could agree that, healing definitely comes from within.
Yeah.
And that, as long as we pay attention to what is happening to us and be curious about it, not coming from a place of fear and dread,
Mm.
um, that a lot of times amazing things can happen. So, do you have some last words that you'd like to just share with the audience?
I think as well, if you are in that thing where you are like I was, like constantly stressed, constantly telling myself there's something wrong with me, like I'm ill. Like it's okay just to take a moment, and it's okay like to take a moment and go, actually, like I'm not enjoying how I'm feeling like this, so I'm going to change it. And then I think as well is Rome wasn't built in a day. Like for me, it was just little every day. And I use this now in my business. Like every day, I just want to go a little bit further, And when I was walking, it was like, every day it's just like a little step, like every day, just get a little bit further every day.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's a great tip.
Thank
And
you.
so I just want to thank you, Vikki, for coming on and sharing your story. It's an amazing one.
Thank
And
you.
continued well health to you, and keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome. And I just want to thank our audience for coming on board. And I'm going to invite people to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and it's at Dr. Fazzino, Healing in Ways You Never Thought Possible. And if you know of anybody who has an amazing healing story that would like to be interviewed, I am more than happy to speak with them. Just reach out to me. And also, one last thing, if you feel like you are a whirling dervish, you're feeling like you're in your head all the time and you're not in the present moment, do I have a gift for you? It's a free meditation that allows you to be in the present moment. And you could get this at the link below here, drdoloresfazzino.com/free-video. You won't regret it. And so thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you, audience, for coming on board. And we'll see you next week on another episode of Healing in Ways You Never Thought Possible with our Miraculous Healing series. Bye for now.
Bye.